And through the work that we've done in our growth, we're now 15% of the domestic market. So Porter continues to expand. You will continue to see us take market share and to introduce opportunities to the domestic and the transborder and the international market because we have a lot of growth ahead of us. Despite what you've seen, there's still a lot to go. The duopoly is no longer going to be two carriers.
Good morning, Kevin, on this very, very snowy day in Toronto. Where are you?
Oh, I'm in Toronto,
Yeah,
but we certainly are both bundled up. So it
yeah.
sounds like we are prepared for this. Yeah.
Have you dug out all your aircraft from the snowbanks? Have
Oh
you been
yeah,
out there
boy,
doing that?
they've been buried. It has been a crazy winter
Yeah,
for travel. Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy.
just nutty. Very, very good for sun destinations, though, I would imagine. And so I
Absolutely.
want to touch on that because huge expansion, huge shift that Porter made at the beginning of the season, flying into sun destinations. And this morning you've announced your summer schedule with a
Yeah.
20% increase. So lots to talk about. Let's go over where you are with these winter destinations. Was it the wise choice, Nassau, Cayman Islands, Cancun? Were these the right destinations? Are you seeing the business come in?
Yeah. So let's remind the audience what those five were for us. They were Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Liberia and Costa Rica, Nassau, and Grand Cayman. And it was our first move into those markets in our 19-year history. And it was enabled,
Yeah.
of course, by our expansion of the E195 E2 fleet. So we did come into the market for the first time this winter. And I would say we actually came in a little bit late into the winter plan. We didn't even start selling it until July. And keeping in mind that we also came in this winter without any package yet. That's something that we'll be introducing here later this year to support next winter's operation. So, we put a lens on that around how did we perform in the first year of this region, given some of the limitations that we had. That said, I would say it exceeded our expectations as a collective group, certainly to the point that you raised. Certain markets performed better than others. I don't want to speak about those that didn't perform well as much as you can imagine, but I will say those that did not perform as well as some of the others saw large increases in capacity in the industry. So I'm going to assume that all of us probably faced some challenges in those markets. But if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about some winners. I think some interesting things are, my goodness, is Cancun a massive market? Like we kept feeding additional frequencies into Cancun, and Cancun just kept taking it. Like it's such a large market, and for
Yeah.
Porter, we find that interesting, right? Because it's a new region for us. I'd say the other big one is just about anything out of Ottawa did great for us. We have been expanding out of Ottawa now for 3 years across North America. We tend to find Ottawa just it loves what Porter does, whether it's domestically or into the U.S. and now even into these sun markets, Ottawa, Cancun, Ottawa, Liberia, Ottawa, Grand Cayman. Like those were all markets that we were very pleasantly surprised with. So it's been a
Fascinating.
good winter.
And it's something we've talked about in the past, the flexibility that Porter has, your focus on regional, Ottawa, not necessarily a regional destination, but not a Toronto or Montreal, and you're seeing huge
Right.
success. And that sort of leads us into what you're doing this summer. So
Yeah.
you're continuing a lot of these sun destinations through the summer. So you're seeing the opportunity there, correct?
Right. So we are going to continue a number of those this summer. They do continue to have demand at a smaller scale in the summer, and we're going to continue to support those. It allows us to keep markets like Cancun and Costa Rica open throughout the summer months, and then propel us into next winter. So that we have announced some service into the Sun and Caribbean will stay.
Now back to Ottawa. You're shifting Sudbury and Windsor to be an Ottawa route versus a Toronto Island route
Right.
for the summer. Talk to me about that.
Sure. Some of these markets are interesting. Windsor has always been a market that its largest connection at, Billy, Bishop was Ottawa. And in a post-COVID world, the amount of local traffic between Windsor and Billy Bishop has reduced. I think that's a function of business travel in general has evolved in a post-COVID world. In some cases, there are other transportation modes that enable that. And so in an example like Windsor, by moving that service into Ottawa, it creates a flight that makes sense from a duration time. It's not really a market you would use another mode of transportation. And the other piece is it connects Windsor into a much larger network than Billy Bishop. As you know, Billy Bishop is a regional network, whereas in Ottawa now we're flying all the way to the West Coast, all the way to the East Coast, down to
Yeah.
the South, into the Caribbean of Mexico. So it's just really taking Windsor and connecting it into a much bigger opportunity. In the case of Sudbury, much of the same strategy is there. Ottawa wasn't necessarily the number two connecting market there. But again, by bringing it into a larger hub, we're bringing more options to Sudbury. So it's interesting. We're going to make these shifts this summer. We're going to see how that performs by bringing it into a much broader part of the network.
Nashville. You're going to be flying there from Billy Bishop. I find this so interesting. What is that about? I mean, you must be seeing the market opportunity,
Yeah.
otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Nashville has been on our radar for many years, even pre-COVID. It was a market that we've continued to watch. That market has continued to grow as for Canadians, but also even as an American destination for Americans as well. That market's just doing well overall. And so as we continue to evolve the network, we really felt that now is the time for us to bring that into Billy Bishop. And so that service is Nashville is served from Pearson today. So we will be the only carrier that is connecting it to downtown Toronto through Billy Bishop. And so we are starting that service this summer. We expect it to be year round, and we're excited to see what is really a different type of market for Billy Bishop in the US, right? Historically, Billy Bishop is business markets from the
Yeah.
US. And Nashville will be a little bit of a different type of market, and we'll see how it performs.
When do they expect to have pre-clearance to the US in place? I keep hearing the latter part of 2026. Do you think that's feasible?
From Billy Bishop,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to get ahead of our partners at the airport that are going to announce it. I will say it is imminent.
Imminent. Great.
As far as a specific date, I'm going to let them announce that. You're going to see it very soon. And that then, of course, changes what's possible there for Billy Bishop.
Before we leave the Nashville conversation, I know we've spoken in the past about the US, and certainly I think the dynamics in terms of Canada-US relations have not improved since the last time we've spoken, and yet you continue to see a market. Um, I find that always a bit of a dichotomy because when I look at the numbers and it's all doom and gloom, that people are saying, you know, it's plummeting, Canadians aren't traveling, but you are flying and you're all filling up your planes.
It's a narrative I want to break. And
Yeah.
I say
Okay.
that because so many media love to just support the challenges between the two countries of the US and Canada with this narrative of just plummeting demand. Yes, demand is down. Demand is down on average 15%. There's still 85% of the demand left, and there's a whole bunch of the United States we don't cover yet. So why not continue to expand into a destination that has a large volume of traffic? And so um, you'll see us expand in our announcement for this summer that we're now adding Boston from Pearson and also Montreal. We've served that market well from Billy Bishop for years.
Yeah.
It is one of our best performing markets in the regional network. And so why not connect it to other parts of the network? It does well to Ottawa too. You're going to see us announce other US destinations in the period as we go. So yes, travel demand is down to the US. All capacities, including Porter, have adjusted our frequencies to meet that lower demand, but it doesn't mean that markets that aren't served can't be entered into the network and continue to expand. You'll see us continue to do it, despite the fact that what we think from the Porter side is demand is not going to stabilize for probably 3 years. You can understand what might happen in 3 years. So we don't see anything changing before then. And we're not going to not continue to expand into the US while we wait for demand to return to its normal state.
Makes sense. Hamilton. You put down roots in Hamilton. earlier in 25, and now you're
Yeah.
doubling down on that. So tell me a little bit about the Hamilton story. You're seeing success there, clearly.
So again, we started Hamilton in June of last year, and we started with nonstop service to Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and Halifax. And we've continued to see growth in Hamilton this winter. We've added some sun destinations as well. We're very pleased with how those sun destinations did from Hamilton this winter. I think I would say it actually exceeded our expectations of what we thought would happen in year one. And so we are continuing to expand in Hamilton, and you'll see us do that as we go in the years ahead. So with the introduction now of Winnipeg and St. John's as new markets from Hamilton, that's sitting on top of increased frequency to Halifax. Halifax was a shining star in
You're,
Hamilton.
you're, you're doubling the frequency to Halifax, it
Yeah,
looks
we
like.
are. Yeah.
That's
So
enormous.
Halifax has performed very well for Porter in almost every market that we serve from there, including Hamilton. And so we will be increasing that service this summer.
Amazing. Now, I want to revisit what you said about packages for the sun destinations because you have the relationship with Transat. Can you give us a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah. When we announced the sun markets in the summer of last year, we announced at that time that we would be partnering with Air Transat to provide package product for us in that region. And so over this winter, the two of us have been working together to build that out in support of our expansion into that region and remember that Porter and Transat have a joint venture. That joint venture
Right.
covers the transatlantic. It also covers the Caribbean region. So we are working together on where should we and they fly with what level of capacity and what aircraft type. It is a partnership in that regard. And so by bringing in packages which they will sell on our behalf, it just obviously makes sense in a region that Air Transat is a big, big player in package. So Porter will just ride along the rails of that distribution that they have, that product depth that they have. And so another offshoot of the joint venture that we are developing.
Kevin, I'm just curious. I want to step back a little bit. The announcement says that the overall increase in the network is by 20%.
Right.
You're seeing successes in so many interesting routes that you've developed. You must be on the radar of a lot of the larger carriers, global carriers. I can't believe that they are not coming and knocking on your door, presenting opportunities for alliances. I mean, a lot of the US carriers are already spoken for with their various alliances and loyalty programs, but there must be something going on that we're not privy to because you must be an attractive target to these people.
The door is getting knocked on a lot. You are correct. We are opening that door and talking to anyone who's on the other side just to understand the opportunities that could be available to us and also obviously to the partners. We need to be creating value for them as well. Look at the network that we're developing.
Yeah.
We are developing a network that originates, if you will, from Eastern Canada, that stretches all across North America. And if you are a global carrier that flies into any of those Eastern hubs, we can take their traffic across Canada and in some cases into the US. And so, yeah, we are having ongoing conversations. Now, we've announced, as you know, a number of partnerships already.
Yeah.
Um, American Airlines was the largest carrier, of course, that we've announced, and we are on a code-share relationship with them now. Alaska in the US is an interline today. We've shared publicly that that's going to go to a code-share this year. One of our other large partners, it's actually the third largest partner of ours, is Qatar. Qatar is currently an interline going to a code-share this year. So we announced a couple of weeks ago that we reached IOSA certification for the airline, which we're really excited about from a safety perspective and what that opens as far as partnerships. And so with that certification now, you will start to see interlines go to code shares. You will start to see announcements made with new partners that are already in the works. And we intend to allow passengers to access the world via Porter through our partnerships, but also keep in mind, also for VI Porter, our loyalty program, which we launched the credit card last year. People want to take those VI Porter points and redeem them globally. And so this is both a network reach, but it's also a loyalty reach. we've got several years ahead of us of growth in all of this area.
Now, Transat has launched a Desjardins loyalty card, Visa card. Is there going to be a reciprocity between your two programs?
Well, so they haven't announced the details of their program and their value proposition yet. So I think we'll let them go on that journey and get that information
Okay.
out in the market as far as what they're going to offer and how Porter and Transat may work in that regard.
Amazing. Wow. I don't know how you keep up with all the changes at Porter. It's enormous. And you know what I find interesting? You're talking about media and how they portray various issues in the industry. One of the things I notice is that for many, many years, when there was talk of Canadian Airlines, it would be the duopoly, you know, WestJet Air Canada, WestJet Air Canada. Now, and so we'd be, hey, there's another one, there's Porter. And now it's included as a matter of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
certainly, as we
I,
said, eyes
I
on
like
Porter.
there's a little number behind that I think helps bring that to life a bit. Pre-COVID, pre all of this exciting growth that we're doing, Porter only represented 2% of the domestic market. And through the work that we've done in our growth, we're now 15% of the domestic market. And so we just took delivery of aircraft number 52 and a jet order of up to 100. So put some math behind that. Through 52 aircraft, we've now grown to 15% of the market. We've got nearly another 50 to go. So Porter continues to expand. You will continue to see us take market share and to introduce opportunities to the domestic and the transborder and the international market because we have a lot of growth ahead of us. Despite what you've seen, there's still a lot to go. The duopoly is no longer going to be two carriers.
And I'm sure Transat would agree with you on that as well.
Surely, they're a great partner, and of course, what's interesting about Transat is they're not playing in the domestic market.
No.
They're playing in an international market of transatlantic in the Sun region. And that's why our partnership makes so much sense. We are
Yeah.
literally connecting two networks that do not overlap to create an incredibly compelling value proposition for Canadians across Canada that now can access transatlantic or sun markets via Transat that historically they would not have been able to do. That's good for Canadians, and that's certainly good for competition. So again, the two of us working together are breaking that duopoly.
Thanks so much for your time this morning, Kevin. I'm fascinated, as always, to hear more about Porter's plans and growth, having seen it emerge from a tiny little carrier to now 15% of the domestic market. Amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks, Nina. Stay warm.
Yes, you
All
too.
right. See you later.